演奏も曲もまだまだだ。けど
It's not often that a story leaves me in awe, leaves me so enraptured that my always thinking, always assessing, always analyzing brain is stunned into silence. And yet, somehow, the scene of a young, frightened girl overcoming her social anxiety for just this moment, to for the first time of her own volition demand that the world look at her, to demand that the bored and indifferent crowd look up from their phones, and for her embarrassed and scared friends to not lose that light that they had all become for her. It genuinely surprised me, as I realized I'd been brought to tears. I was already rooting for Bocchi. We've spent the entire show in her head, after all. Seeing her over-the-top reactions, seeing her step up for others. And yet, even I felt in that moment like I'd underestimated her. Taken for granted that I know where this goes, how this typical sort of rising to the occasion scene is gonna play out. Yet, there I was, affected in a way I still can't fully articulate. No thinking, just feeling, just watching. Completely entranced by Bocchi's Rock. While Bocchi's journey is just so wonderful to watch, her struggles with anxiety and loneliness are never shown in any way that feels truly dire or depressing. You know, she's not being bullied, she has very supportive parents, and generally, everyone around Bocchi is more than accommodating to her antics, because the show very much wants to be a positive message about how most people you come across in real life aren't actually out to get you. As Bocchi's 5-year-old sister Futari says, Bocchi is more so a pain in her own ass. Her nickname, Bocchi, is literally ripped from the word Hitoribochi, which means alone. She is a lone girl. Things aren't that serious in this show. And so what makes Bocchi struggle so compelling then is that she isn't content with that. She isn't content with having a decent following with nice comments praising her as 30K hit YouTuber Guitar Hero. You know, she wants real personal connections. And so the show is all about how Bocchi's true inner strength, her desire to grow, that strength that allowed her to stick to the guitar for 3 years, playing 6 hours every day, entirely self-taught. How that skill she honed is what allowed these opportunities, these miraculous encounters, to happen in the first place. And so when Bocchi steps up at the concert, it feels like the culmination of all that. Bocchi was able to encourage all these people who have brought so much light into her life and bring their spirits up to make their first performance a good memory. Because it's not like if the performance went poorly that it's the end of the band. Like the manager says, these things happen. But for Bocchi, that wouldn't be good enough. Like always, she won't accept things as they are. When Bocchi goes out to find Nijika, who quietly disappeared from the after party, you think, this is it. This is the moment when Nijika is going to tell Bocchi how good a job she did. She saved the performance. She tells Bocchi that she figured out she's Guitar Hero. Yes, awesome. But Bocchi says, she's not a hero. She's just Bocchi. And she wanted to wait to tell the band who she was when she finally became that person, that Guitar Hero she pretends to be. So tell her, Nijika, give Bocchi the credit we know she deserves.
さ、私本当の夢があるって前に言ったよね。はい。私小さい頃に母親が亡くなって父親はいつも家にいないしお姉ちゃんだけが家族だったんだ。だから私の本当の夢はね、お姉ちゃんの分まで人気のあるバンドになること、スターリーをもっと有名にすること。今日のぼっちちゃん、私には本当にヒーローに見えたよ。
Bocchi the Rock is a very silly show. It's not that serious. To Bocchi, her problems and even her successes aren't that serious. At one point, she describes them as almost pathetic, something anyone should be able to do. And so for the story to finally acknowledge something as real as death, to say to Bocchi that what happened that night meant more than she could have ever known. It's lovely that every small step Bocchi has taken in her silly, goofy little world has actually shaken and shined upon someone else's, and that they see that. They've watched it. Watched her as she became their rock. love that it's Bocchi who writes the lyrics for all the band's songs. So much extra emotion is felt when you realize that Bocchi is finally able to play at her best for her friends to the lyrics, "It's not enough, not enough, no one knows I'm here. So I'm singing out just like the fool I am." Only for later, when the band performs the song poorly, for the worst sung line to be, almost like the lyrics she wrote are now mocking her friends. Likewise, Ryo and Bocchi finally achieved their dream of making their peppy vocalist sing a really messed up lyric, and the same song shows a side of Bocchi she's never verbalized to the viewer. That while school is stupid and dumb and she hates it and wants to drop out, she's made memories during this time that have made going worth it. That maybe she'll miss it when it's gone. Maybe part of that is that she'll miss the very special time she spent with a very special girl, this girl, Kita! Alright, so everybody loves Bocchi and Kita together. Popular extrovert meets loner failure, it's perfect. The fandom loves them together, the anime staff obviously loves them together, now someone just needs to let Bocchi know. And I mean that seriously. Because what makes Kita's connection with Bocchi so compelling to watch is that, eventually, she isn't open about how she feels for her, despite being, you know, Kita, the girl who overwhelmingly wears her heart on her sleeve. After all, as Kita consistently reminds us, she loves Ryo, openly fawning all over her and showing off just to get her attention. Part of her stated goal for joining the group is that she wants to be Ryo's girl, and will actively delete any memory that paints her in a less than perfect light. All of this being very goofy and played for laughs. But then there's the other girl. The girl who takes time out of each day just to teach Kita guitar. The girl who made sure Kita didn't miss out on the found family she always wanted. The girl who Kita couldn't take her eyes off after she pulled the band out of its lowest moment. Who gave her the courage to do her best and forgave her at her worst. For that girl, Kita is brought to tears. For that girl, Kita holds on just a bit longer. For that girl, Kita secretly takes extra lessons with Ryo, so that when she sings that girl's lyrics about wishing she could shine as bright as her friends, Kita will be able to catch her when she falls.
北さん、打ち合わせしてないのにアドリブ。みんなに見せてよ。本当は後藤さんはすごくかっこいいんだってところ。
Unlike with Ryo, Kita sees Bocchi's insecurities, eccentricities, and flaws, actively trying to help or tease her through them. For Kita, all she wanted that day was for others to see how special Bocchi is, how cool she is, to lift her up and support her, having finally found that connection she'd hoped for by joining a band, a relationship she could run forward to strengthen by bettering herself, rather than a way out of the shame of who she can be. And all while expecting nothing really, other than to see that girl smile. But that's what happens when your feelings for someone are more precious than words can describe. That's just how Kita sees Bocchi, how she's grown to see.
ひとりちゃん。
The finale's credit theme, Morning Light Falls on You, is the only song in the show to be sung by Bocchi. The song perfectly conveys how she consistently views herself, with lines like, "Can't even laugh naturally in front of you. What did I do wrong? Can't even figure that out. What was it I lost? Can't even figure that out." And yet, contrasting each barrage of negativity is the phrase, rolling, rolling. Even though Bocchi by the end of the series hasn't conquered her anxiety, hasn't become the star she wants to be, hasn't stopped being a pain in her own ass. In the end, she's still moving forward, her heart entangled with the hearts of others, rolling, rolling. The series ends with Bocchi on her way to a job that, at the start of the show, filled her with so much dread, rolling, rolling, as we then see the slightest moment of realization that today has finally become.
今日もバイトか。